Okay, welcome back to the Pennsylvania and Berwind, a route created by Approach Medium. I'm Wasted Tries and glad to be back after 2 weeks away from the route. Hope this time the sound is better. I've watched a lot of YouTube tutorials and others have been helping me, but the issue is that my mic seems like the feed and the game feed seem like they're impossible to separate. The best I can do is to adjust the game sound up and down, and like happened last time, right now the game sound is kind of overpowering for me. So I can barely hear myself thinking or talking. The problem is, of course, on live streams, because I'm not recording the voiceover separately and then just adding it later. I didn't really have this problem initially, so I'm still not exactly sure what I can do about it, but I might be able to address it, but I'm going to do this one as a test, see how it goes. I believe it should be, the game sound should be audible and not too loud this time. First of all, we're coming onto town. This is, gosh, who is this? I'm supposed to know that. Some of the engineers have changed since the last time we were here, since the last time we were on the route. So we have Andrew, and Andrew is coming on with our GP9s that we saw in the last episode. And he's got a string of boxcars and then coal cars. The boxcars are going to Glosser Brothers, and then the coal cars are just going to be going to one of the mines where we need to pick up coal for delivery later on the route. That's one of the working assumptions on the route, is that anytime coal is demanded by any industry, it always comes from on the map. Not all industries are like that, but coal will be one of the examples that is like that. According to my spreadsheet, I have 14 tasks underway, and I think 3 tasks done. So it might not seem like we've made much progress yet, but I think it masks how many of those underway tasks are just industries that are already being worked, as opposed to local trains that are like several stops away. I am using the randomizer to select industries for loads and empties, and given the layout of the map compared to Wallace, it seems that this one is on balance a little bit easier than the way that I have Wallace set up. I could address that in various ways. I'm going to talk about that in a second. In terms of the industries you are working, you're going to see them in quick succession after I finish this little intro. Number 1, we're still working on sweets. Adair is there with those boxcars. The Ag Co-op, that's where we ended last time. We're just working in that industry. It's going to take a while. We've got the grain elevators at Briars. That's almost done, and it's a little bit of a congested area as well, so we need to clear that out. We've got a consist, which is just no engineer, trying to do some furniture pickups, the empties there, and then we have some empties at the sand track. We need to get back to those with the locomotive. I'm going to start with the industries, though, that we're already working. We do need to get some of our road switchers into servicing as well, and then we have other trains coming onto the map. We're going to see that a bit later. But basically the principle is I want to get this map busy with like a lot of cars. A lot of trains, yes, but more importantly, I want there to be a lot of cars around, a lot of tasks to handle. I don't want to put more and more trains on the map because I think we should have a limited number. That makes it more challenging to do the switching and assign the tasks and prioritize things. So yeah, let's just jump into that. I'm going to come back with a little bit more of the introductory remarks in a bit. But yeah, let's jump into our driver control center and get back to Adair. Of course, Adair is here at Sweets. And I think the very last thing that he did was just move these cars into, move the tank cars into the storage track. Forgot to do the horn. Too busy thinking. Okay. Got the commodity bars showing. Okay. That was perhaps the worst long, short, long I have ever done. But yeah, we've got room for 4 boxcars here, and 4 boxcars have indeed unloaded. So that should be good. Oh, I forgot to mention the time. It is just afternoon, so really anything that we're going to do today probably is going to be underway already. The cough there. So you might have heard a little click as the mic goes in and out. I do have a very good quality mic, but unfortunately I cannot use it with my very good quality computer. And I have about 3 different headsets, but it seems that those headsets for the most part do not work well with the computer. So I don't have much choice other than to do what I have been doing, which is using this one headset, which apparently doesn't work well in terms of being able to separate out, or maybe it's the computer, right? The computer audio. The computer audio is the way it is. And yes, we basically have to pull this all the way out because there just isn't any more space on any of the other tracks. It's one of the things that's going to make this industry probably difficult to service every time we go there. So yeah, we're all lined up. This is the brewery in the background, one of my favorite of the approach medium route build videos. Okay, it's 25 miles an hour. I guess we can accelerate. So yeah, another reason why it was very essential to do those slight modification to the suites area is that essentially, if we had to do these boxcars one by one, I think it would be just so time consuming to be running back and forth. You know, there's just not enough track there. So I didn't lengthen the track. Well, maybe I did lengthen the track slightly. But at least there's room to unload 4 boxcars, so that's very important. But I think we'll be able to finish off this industry in this hour. Gosh, almost 15 minutes have gone by. It seems unbelievable. Alcinor, welcome indeed, and thank you for the feedback on the sound. It is good to hear, no pun intended, that the sound is okay on your end. It's been a real chore, and it's actually okay on my end. I'm not being overwhelmed like I was in the last PMD session that I played on. And yeah, I'm sorry to hear that you have tinnitus. I have a few people that I know also have that issue. And who knows, maybe I will have it in the future. Who can say? Maybe not in the distant future. So yeah, let's get these boxcars back to where they belong. We're delivering paper, as you can see. Paper rolls. One of the kind of to-do items that I had on my list was to check out why it is that there's so much flange action on these tracks. Are they in especially bad condition? I know it can't be the locomotive because it's my locomotive, and the buying boxcars too. Ooh, it looks like a TV truck coming here. That's awesome. I wish you could follow them. All right, let's make sure we get the horn correct on this occasion. I've switched it into backing up mode, so I mean into the rear is forward, because sometimes I wonder if like that affects whether the traffic stopper works. I don't think it does, but I just thought I'd make sure. Oh, here's the TV truck again. He's like, I can get around him. I can get around him. I love this copier ad. Definitely places us in the, I'd say around 1980. 1980, 1982, perhaps. Essentially before even office computers became widespread. Alcera says, 20 years with road noise in my left ear will do it. Thought he was racing you for a second. I think he might have been racing us. And that's okay. Totally permitted. Oh, we only have 6 cars left. 5 cars. I thought we had 6. In fact, we have 5. It almost looked like all 5 could get done here. I don't think so, though. I'm hoping this doesn't just unload the middle 3. That would be unfortunate. Okay. Fast, fast, fast. We need to go over to Jane. Now, when we left, Jane had probably just coupled to this line of cars. I'm not exactly sure. So I just need to... Oh, did I overshoot that totally? Why didn't this one unload? Okay, this one, the middle one, and this one should unload. It's not a big deal if they don't go exactly in order, but I'm going to monitor it. Okay, we've got the suites 2 are unloading. Now I did just resave this as a new route, and if there's new bugs that get introduced with the MI2 tracks, we'll just deal with that. Okay, let's jump on over to what I said was important priority, which is Briars. Now, for some reason, that SW came down that track. Oh, that's the main line. But he can get around by just backing up, or we could take this little wheat train and we could put that on the siding. Okay, this is Eric. Eric is in our RS3. And who is in the SW? Is it Philippe? I was going to guess Philippe. I'm not able to recognize them at a glance based on their headshot. Oh, you're not supposed to go in there. Okay, check the switches. Okay, that one's correct. Okay, there we go. Now, one thing that is different from the last session that I want to highlight is the 2-bay covered hoppers here. These are brand new assets since the last time I recorded. And I say assets, but in reality I should say asset, because these 4 cars, each of them has a different skin, but they are the same car. Therefore, when I go into Car Tagger here and I click on the first one, I can click tag, and I could say that they're all going to the Ag Co-op, and see all 4 of them are tagged Ag Co-op. If I wanted to do that in the past with the assets that I had downloaded off the DLS, I'd either have to use a single car with all the same exterior skins, or I would have to use different cars and just tag them individually. So this is an important change, and I was a little bit worried about whether I could do a convincing job on these covered hoppers, but I think that they are actually better than the asset that I replaced. I'm not referring to the exterior, I'm referring to the actual model of the car. These 4 do not have working doors, however they do have particle effects for unloading. Unloading only. And I just plan to make a few more tweaks to them before I put them on the DLS. I'm just going to put him on the siding because I do not think we're taking him anywhere today, this 1 hour game time. However, for Philippe, we are going to put Philippe on autopilot because you are navigating to the Highland Grains. Highland inbound grains, outbound spent grain. Let's see if he'll do that, Philippe. All right, now what you're observing both in the foreground and just on the background track there, these are also new assets. You have cylindrical hoppers, and this train is similar. Each one of these cars is the same asset with different road names, skins, and so on. And this is a train of wheat and also potash. But I actually forgot that the potash is actually going here to... Yeah, the potash is actually going here to the team track. So I think the thing to do there is actually to take him into Allegheny Yard instead of going all the way to Highland Brewery. So, okay, is it Allegheny? Gotta love all the sounds on this route. Okay, this is Allegheny. And map options, I just... Trackside labels? Okay, West Yard. He's using the bell a lot. Drive via Allegheny West Yard. Dang, it's hard to navigate these menus, honestly. Let's do track 2 west and cancel this one. Okay, so yes, these cars are going to Shawnee, which is right here, but this area is becoming a major bottleneck, so I don't want to continue to slow things down here because we've got to continue loading our barley cars. So again, these are another group of brand new assets that I created in the last week. And of the 3 different types of covered hoppers, this is definitely the most challenging. VGR says, hello there. Hello there. Welcome. Okay, so we've only got a few more cars there. Now we do need to go to Reading, and this is almost where we left off last time. Blocking the intersection, of course. But did we get beyond this switch? Yes, okay. And who do we have? We have Vaughn. Okay, that's not who was in charge last time. Vaughn is going to Belmont Lumber. And once again, I have the problem of the disappearing lumber loads. Man, this is a heavily smoky asset. This little brick building is firing on both cylinders, I think we'll all agree. And what are they doing in there? It's a restaurant and rooms for rent. Now, for some of when I downloaded this route and started this build session, I did not intend to do any editing with the exception of the minimum necessary to get it operating, you know, with the goods that I like to use on my rolling stock, that sort of thing. However, as time has gone on, I see more and more things like that smoke where I'm like, I could easily change that, right? So in fact, I have already removed several smoke assets from the route. Now here you see some PBR clipping. That is another thing that I can easily fix. PBR texture clipping, if you're having that problem with your route, this is an easy problem to fix. It's not just clicking a button though, you do have to change the textures on your route. Okay, now I'm totally unsure how many cars this is going to be able to unload. I would say, logically, 4 or potentially 5, because it doesn't necessarily have to relate to the length of this rooftop here, right? No, we're totally blocking this track, though. We're totally blocking the street, I mean. Of course, I'd love to just tell these guys, you know, just drive around. It's not rocket science. You can just drive around here. Alcenor says they're baking bread. Lots of bread. That's it. Well, I do not know. I do believe that I can say that it's a Dave Snow asset. Ooh, wow, that was quite a pile up there. You guys need to spread out. I'm just fascinated watching the traffic. Okay, we need to do more other things, though. Okay, now we've done enough items that it's almost like, what's next? But right next door here, we do have our Erie Lackawanna RS unit. Make sure he's going the right way. So, where should we take him? And it does look like that is Thomas. That's one of the guys I can recognize easily. So I believe that we want to just come right back here to our little furniture operation. Oh, we have a derailment. That will get corrected. Let's just watch Thomas here. Okay, so as I mentioned, I have made a number of changes to the route just in the last 2 weeks since the last time I recorded on it. And I also had a lot of feedback, really very useful feedback from one user. And it really got me to thinking, but I didn't have time to act on any of that feedback yet, except for one thing, which I got a lot of feedback from one user, which I'm going to come back to, which is related. Another user suggested that they have downloaded the PMB, and of course the PMB created by Approach Medium. Which they really like. But they've also downloaded the DBEV, the Dry Brook and Esopus Valley Railroad, which I've seen both those build series, highly recommend them. But I had not really considered downloading that one because I figured this one, based on the length and the number of industries, why wouldn't I just get started on this route? But, this poster said, they're thinking about combining or merging those two routes. And they suggested that as well for me. So I went ahead and I actually did that already. I was thinking about talking about it as if it was a potential. But then this morning I started looking into that. I purchased the route from Jointed Rail and looked at how long it was. Not very long. It's 15-mile branch line. And then I found that it was actually relatively straightforward to merge these two routes. So I did that, and I am not done with that process. Now, if you've ever merged route, which I had never merged any routes on trains before, not even like small routes of my own where I might have done something as a test. I may have watched the tutorial, I can't remember, whatever. I knew that it had some potential downfalls. But these two routes are very easy to merge because, first of all, they are approximately the same elevation, not totally the same elevation, but approximately the same. So that's one of the downfalls of route merging, is that you can't adjust the elevation so that if one route is like at 0 meters elevation and the other route is at, 500 meters elevation. The only way that you could merge those would be to have them probably like very far separated or have portals or something. It just wouldn't be a nice seam in between those two routes in that case. But these two are basically very near 0 elevation. Then the other complication is, which I'd forgotten about, or if I ever knew about it, is that the north, south, east, west orientation of the route is fixed. You cannot change that. You cannot edit that. So whatever that route has that you want to merge, if you wanted to merge it so it's going, north is connected to the south of the other layout, you have no problem. But if you wanted to connect the north of one to the west of the other, then there's no way to do that. So I thought that might turn out to be a major problem, but I basically envisioned that the DBEV would probably have to connect to one of the cities. Just deleting a bot there. VGRO says, currently playing the second to last Cornish mainline sessions. Oh, awesome. That is a fantastically beautiful route, and I would love to take that route in real life. Oh, something actually happened. Right. So that's interesting. The loading area is actually here. That's excellent. Okay, no, nothing to watch there. So let's go back to Eric. No, it's actually Philippe that we want. Philippe just has to continue down this semi-abandoned track. So we can continue. It looks good for finishing this task. Let's jet back to the ag co-op as well. Okay, looks like that one did unload just the way I thought it was going to. I think we do still have space, so I'm just going to check that. No, that one didn't unload. Kind of bizarre. With such a long train, my philosophy is just to keep going for now. There's a lot more cars that need unloading. We don't need to worry about every little bit. Okay, so let's look at our P&B task list. So we are working the suites. We're working the ag co-op. That's what you see. We're working Briars. We just saw that. Belmont, we are working, and Iron City, we have not been to yet. And Allegheny, we have not been to yet. So let's pop back to suites for now. Make sure that that is still being taken care of. That's Adair, of course. Easy one to remember. And yes, only 4 cars, but we did get the 4 cars, so. Okay, now the 1 or 2 box cars can easily fit here. Oops, going the wrong way here. That's because I was trying to make sure the horn sounded the correct direction. Elsinore says, them pesky kids again running around derailing trains. Yeah, I don't know if you're referring to that specific incident where the YouTuber or something, just to get some clicks on YouTube, demonstrated how to foul a switch so that it would derail a very short train. It does happen. And that was a costly lesson for that young man to learn. Yes, I know he did. Vijero says he did derail the train. Yep. And I did not watch the video. So sweets will be all set with both paper and corn syrup, which is what they need. And as I've mentioned a few times, I do not actually have these industries working, so they need these inputs in order to make outputs. That is rather handled by the spreadsheet. Now, I do have a lot of GP9s on my 2 routes. And several people have requested that I should put them on the DLS, and I am still working on that. In some cases because I think that their model is not quite ready yet, but the main reason is that I am still working on a cab, and it is my second time making a cab. Let's back this up a little bit further just to make sure. Because we can. Okay, Avery is done. Let's go back to Briars first. This is ready, right? Yeah. When I started this, I did look at this track to make sure that it was long enough. And my theory is that it is still all usable. Oh gosh, did I pull that too far forward? All right. So let's move on from just doing industry servicing. And this is a train that just arrived at the map. Just came out of the map, and I mentioned already that one of our issues is that we've got kind of a lot of empty yard tracks. That's not very realistic, first of all. But secondly, the problem that I have is that we kind of have like a large need for empty cars and no empty cars on the route because it started out empty. So this is another brand new, that's the derailment prevention rule coming into effect there. Oops. Yeah, good, good. So this train is bringing on some empty coal cars, which I think we'll need, and some empty box cars, which I think we do not need. And my intention is to actually leave the box cars here and then bring the coal cars to Allegheny, which is a more central location for them. It's closer to where the mines are located. And this also is a brand new asset created for this session. And it is based on an actual real locomotive, which was a former Lehigh Valley minimally re-lettered with Conrail stencil. And in incredibly tough shape in terms of cleaning. All right, did we get the caboose? Not quite. Elsinore said, nope, just making jokes. I had no idea that a dummy did that. Vigiro says, I'll have to make an interactable cab for the electrolyzer in the future. Okay, so now we've got the caboose. I should have actually left it on that track. So in terms of locomotives that we're going to bring onto the route, I do think that we will probably end up bringing a few more on, but I think this is it for today. Now, it's still only one day. We're in the 4th session of playing through this route, but we're only We're only in day 1, right? So it's 1:30 now. Now, as discussed last time, track 1 here I'm going to play in the future, that this is not actually a real track, not in use. Right. So we just need to get all of these boxcars back. None of these are tagged because they're not going to any particular industry at the moment. It's more an effort to bring some cars onto the map and locate them strategically in important places. Decouple. Oh, I didn't realize how poor a clearance that was there. Definitely not safe. I have seen maybe 1 or 2 operating sessions that Approach Medium did with this route, and I'm sure that he'd already kind of populated the route with a lot of rolling stock. But in addition, he had some very long trains, and I wonder how he achieved that. You know, was it by really having a switch list for all the industries on the route, or what? More just like what he thought looked appealing? I'm just not sure. All right, so what I said already was we're going to go to Allegheny, and I believe we're going to go to Allegheny East Yard West track. East Yard 4 West. Sound good? Okay, let's go back and see if we can finish off. Not Eric. Easy to get confused. It's Hank. Okay, we are with Hank, and Hank just has this one remaining car. And then Hank will be ready to go to the brewery, Highland Brewery. Also, well, I already said it's an excellent build video. Keep going just slightly too long. And yes, that train fit. I would say we barely fit. Let's just say that's the end of the track right there. All right, and let's go handle Philippe. Now, Philippe should have arrived. Yeah, Philippe arrived. Oh, he didn't go to the right place, though. And his bell's still going. Now, I'm not going to highlight it. I am going to show you, but I'm not going to highlight it from up close. But you might, if you were looking very closely, you might have spotted the D-Bev. Just as soon as we get these actually, where is the switch here? It's right there. Okay, where's the brewery? That's the paper mill. That's Old Town. Okay, so 3 cars have unloaded at Old Town. That's good. Now, this is an industry that we have no chance of finishing up. Oh gosh, the lumber track is showing as already being full. That's not good. Oh wait, hold on. Is it unloading that car? No, it's not. Here's another Conrail. X Reading lines, and if you look closely, you can actually still see the Reading lines right there. Also based on a real photo. There's a really excellent Railfan, I think Railfan, or history site for Conrail locomotive roster photos. Probably most major railroads have something like that, but I was really impressed with the variety of photos on that website. So yeah, one of the extensive comments, which I said I was going to come back to, and then I got distracted. Oops. Probably should just be blowing the horn continually there. We just need to pass this switch. Yeah, so after implementing the very useful suggestion to put the D-Bev, merge the D-Bev route onto this route, what I ended up, I got another comment which is related to that, which was somebody mentioning that, you know, Approach Medium is a major fan of Alcos. And I am also a fan of Alcos. And so for the locomotives that he made, or others that he worked with made for his own liveries, many of them are Alcos. And I think he maybe even has said in the Let's Build or the playthroughs that, you know, he thought that, you know, the Pennsylvania and Berwind would be an all Alco route or something like that. Anyway, clearly I have a lot of EMDs. I have GP9s, I have this SW1200, and both those are models that I made, but I also have RS3, that's an Alco. I also made that model. But most of the units on here are EMDs. So the question was asked, well, would I consider reskinning a lot of other assets that have been posted to the DLS? You know, there's lots of Alcos on the DLS, and Transforge has some RS11s, and the poster was kind enough to look up how whether or not those are even allowed to be reskinned for private use, for non-distribution, or even for distribution, because I want to respect people's wishes in that regard. And yeah, I'm going to consider that, but for right now, I have a lot of other things that I'm working on. But when I downloaded the DBEV, one thing that I saw is that they have also some units. I think they have a SW1500, so that's not an Alco, obviously. And then they have a S1, I believe, which is an X-Pen Central that has been relettered for the DBEV. So I have that. I looked at it just before we started this stream. And basically, it has a license that states very clearly, like, even for personal use, you are not allowed to make any modifications to this. So unfortunately, that is a beautiful, beautiful S1 asset that is intended to work on the DBEV, but I am pretending like, in my fictional world, that the DBEV is just a part of the Pennsylvania and Berwind, so I'm calling this whole combined merged route as the Pennsylvania and Berwind. I hope that sounds reasonable. And then, as I mentioned, I've been creating some of my own liveries for the Pennsylvania and Berwind, based on what I thought would be a more appropriate 80s style. And in terms of other Alcos that I might consider reskinning, I definitely would look at reskinning a RS11. Or an S2. I think those two would be the ones I'm most interested in reskinning. Obviously, they're both switch engines, and we already have a lot of switch engines on the route. I am definitely considering making my own SW1500 as well. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of switch engines. But of course, we do have some road engines on the route. They're all EMDs, it's true. But still got a lot of interesting stuff going on the route. And as this example shows, for branch line service, you know, a little SW1200. Let's check out how much this train weighs. Okay, actually, this SW1200 is pulling more tonnage than he should be. So I was just about to say, no problem. But actually, shouldn't be pulling this much. Okay, we're going for 3 cars here. I don't know why the commodity bar suddenly showed on there. Oh, it must be because the commodity just got consumed. Right. Okay, well, it just looked like we did not quite clear that intersection. Get down nice and low. Okay, there's the music, so that's all the time we have for today. I'm taking a suggestion from a comment and throwing up on screen our progress on the tasks so far. This is where we'll be starting from next time. So I hope you enjoyed yourself, and I look forward to any feedback, and we'll see you again next time on the PNB.